you incorporate these things in your life, they're gonna make a huge difference. And those were the answers. Those are the answers. What you will become after this, best version of yourself, happy energy that it will overflow and infect the people around you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Saida here with another video. If you're a new subscriber, please check out my previous videos, family versus love and patience versus divorce, to have a better idea of this video and a better understanding of the situation. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support and always tuning in. Please remember to always share these videos with others so it can help reach more people and benefit others. Back to our story time. So I had already spoken to my dad at that time, and he was, and my parents, and they're all trying to tell me, like, you wanted this yourself, you chose the person yourself, it was not an arranged marriage. Basically just questioning me every single day on why I made the decision in the first place, and actually getting me to ask myself these questions. So it was hard because it was like I was challenging my future self and my past self, and I was asking myself, like, you know, which one made a mistake? Did I make a mistake now, or did the past Saida is the one who made the mistake? It was so hard to hang in there, but at the end of the day, I had a child, my daughter, and I had to try. And our parents also were pushing us to try, so I had no choice but to try. So now, being a very impatient person, I want to see results now, tomorrow, today. When is it gonna stop? When is the pain gonna stop? When is the patience gonna pay off? It was hard. So I started asking myself a few questions because I had thought that my life had crashed completely. I lost the love of my life. The love story, my happily ever after just collapsed. I have nothing left. Literally, that's how I was looking at the world. I have nothing left. The only thing that was good in my life has now gone. I was clearly undergoing depression, and I had lost so much weight, and I was constantly anxious, you know, like feeling nervous and worried about, you know, how my life is going to turn out. When is the next other bad situation going to happen? I was constantly living in fear and worry that my life is over. This is the end. We're breaking up any time now. I was trying to research about how to overcome anxiety and depression. I started visioning my mom, and I was like, I knew my mom had gone through some really hard times, especially in her marriage. And I remember, I was young at that time, but I remember every time I used to come into her room in the evening, which is the time she used to spend with us, she would always be on a prayer mat, and she would just constantly be praying. So I never saw her crying or letting it out, but I always saw her, whenever she was in pain, she would always be on a prayer mat, praying harder and praying longer those days. So, and then I remember that my mom, after some situation, she was so strong. She's a very strong woman. How does she live through all these challenges she got in her life? So, and how is she such a positive person? So I was actually trying to study my mom indirectly. She didn't know that. How does this person, having gone through so many things, how did she overcome it, and how is she today such a strong, positive person? Like, I'm trying to describe my mom. She's a very positive, happy, beautiful person. Beautiful not on the outside, beautiful person in the inside, that every time you go to her, like I would go to my mom with problems, like, Mom, I have so many problems. I would think that she would sit there and mourn with me and would talk about the problems and would think about it, but she's those people who will send you back happier than you came to her, rather than you making her feel the same energy you feel when you go to her. She will send you back feeling happier, like the way she feels. So she's just like this ball of positive energy, and everything around her just is so positive, is happy. She's happy that it overflows and it spreads with other people. She impacts the people around her with the same energy she has. So I was trying to understand, how does this woman do this? Because for me, she's my biggest inspiration. Like, every time I would have something, she would go to me, I'd go to her, and she would be like, it's gonna be fine, it's right. She would make me think about the good things that I have in life compared to the bad things I have. I'd go to her with a problem. She's like, oh my God, look at you, saying that. Look at what you have. She'll start showing me the beauty in my problems, and I would go back feeling just like, yeah, my problems are fine. You know, those kind of people, right? So I was trying to study her and trying to understand how is she that person. And I knew it was something to do with when she had a hard time and she got out of that hard time and she just become this beautiful person. So I remember one thing that she was praying a lot. She was praying, she was on a prayer mat, not praying, just praying. She was talking to someone. She was like meditating. She was on a prayer mat, but she was constantly spending more time meditating, okay? And then I also realized that she's very grounded as a person. Like she knows who she is and she stays true to herself. Like despite my dad being the love of her life and whatever, right? She still is the purest version of herself. The same Fatma you will know 10 years ago, she's still the same person. She's friends with us, her kids, she's close with her sisters, she's close with her family, she's constantly doing good for others. So I started trying to now, how do I incorporate this woman's lifestyle in my lifestyle? I'm far away from home, I can't do any of that, but okay. So the answer was something like this: I need to start meditating, I need to start praying because I need to ground myself to something. Okay, and then the second one is I need to find myself. I need to know my identity. Who am I? What am I doing? And the third one is I had to do good and give back to those people who are more vulnerable than I am. Those are the three things that she was doing, and she was being the best version of herself that she could be. So I started praying. I was praying, and I was hoping to see results, and it wasn't coming. Like I was praying, and I remember my mom telling me, when you pray, you don't have to just pray to make the prayer go. You have to actually talk to God. Tell him your problems, tell him your worries, confide in him, go shout it, whatever you feel, everything you feel, tell it to God. He's the only one who can fight the battle for you. All these other humans you're going to tell, they're not going to help you. So I remember her telling me that. So I started doing that. I started praying, and when I was praying, I started just talking to God. I don't know him, I cannot see him, I cannot reach him, but I just close my eyes and I start talking to God, and I tell him my pain and my fear, and I'm telling him what I want him to help me with. I want him to take me to the place I want to be. I don't know how it is or where it is, but I'm just talking to him. Okay, I was doing that. The next thing, how do I now find my identity? Because my identity revolves around this man, Kamara. Like I didn't have friends. Like I had one friend, but I had cut down so many friends. My friends were actually, I realized that the people I called my friends were actually his friends. What are my favorite foods? Actually, I stopped eating my favorite food. The favorite food I was eating was his favorite food, but I thought it was my favorite food. The hobbies I was doing, I thought they were my hobbies. They were actually the hobbies that he was doing. So now if I detach myself from this person, who am I? You would be surprised. I couldn't answer that question. I didn't know who I was. I had spent, I don't know, 5-6 years with this man, and I didn't know who I was. I changed my life. Like literally, I could see him as he was the sun, and I was revolving around him. So basically, everything in my life was revolving around him because I thought that was me loving someone, giving them my all. But actually, I had made this person my source of life. So it was so hard to let go of him. Everything I eat is what he likes. Everything I breathe, every person I talk to is the one he wants. Everything I do revolved around him. Who are you, Saida? I couldn't answer that question. It took me so much time. So I think about 1 week time, I started slowly remembering who I was. It took me, I think, 1 week or 2 weeks. And I was trying to remember how my life looked like way before I met him, like way before I met Kamara, way before I came to Malaysia. I started remembering slowly, these visions started coming to me within a week's time. I started remembering when I used to come back from school when I was a teenager. I would get into my room, I would just dance and sing in my room. I used to love dancing and singing. I could even remember the Dabaita telling me, Saida, your voice is so ugly, why are you screaming? But I didn't care. I remember I used to sing my lungs out at whatever song that I was into that moment, and I used to just be happy. I used to sing, I used to dance in my room without nobody, and those were the happiest. I was happy. And then what else, Saida? What else were you doing? What else were you doing when you were 17 years old? What else were you doing when you were 18 years old, 17 years old, that before you even met Kamara, that made you happy? I remembered another thing after a few days. I used to play basketball. I used to play basketball and it used to drive me. I love sports. I used to have a basketball team. I used to be in the school team. I used to play. And I even remember the day that I came home late from basketball and I was in trouble with my dad. But I was telling my dad how I was passionate about basketball and how I loved it. That vision came into my head. And then I remembered the second thing. I love sports. I love playing basketball. Why did I stop it? I can't remember why I stopped it. Okay, another thing. I need one more thing. So within a week, another thought came into my mind. I was happy because I was surrounded by people who loved me. It wasn't a boyfriend, it wasn't a girlfriend, it wasn't a husband, but it was my sisters, my brothers, my mom, my dad, my aunties, my uncles, like my friends, just everybody around me. I was just freely loving people around me. I had no strings attached to them. They were not giving me anything back, but I was just freely loving everybody. And that was making me happy. And the other thing was that I used to also feel happy when I was 17 years old, because at first I used to complain to my mom, why are we like the other families? Every time I go back to school on Monday, all my friends tell me that their weekend was they were going to Wet n Wild, they were going to Slipway, they were going to Cocoa Beach. They were doing all these things on the weekend, but we never do that on weekends, Mom. Why is it that our weekends are always going to visit sick people, going to funerals, or going to visit poor like family members, visit sick people and all these things? I used to hate it when I was young, because all my friends, I had nothing to talk about in class, because my friends used to always go to Cocoa Beach and go and eat out with their families on weekends, but my weekends was always visiting sick people. I was always visiting sick people with my mom, and she would make us always go visit relatives, older people like her grandmothers, her aunts, her family members. And every time we visit a sick person, my mom would ask us to make a dua before we leave. She's like, make a dua for the sick person. We make a dua, we leave. But it was actually doing some good stuff to us. We didn't realize it, but those things were making me feel good as a person, right? So I remembered that when I was digging through who am I, and I remembered that the things that make me happy are giving back to people more vulnerable than myself. And those were the answers. Those were the answers. It took me 1 week, one whole week. I think it was, I don't even know, it was 1 week or 2 weeks, but it took me time to answer one simple question. Who are you, Saida? And what do you like? What makes you happy? Without Kamara. So I knew, I had an idea, okay, these are things like I need to start living the way I used to live before I met this person. And I'm not gonna do it out of anger. I'm gonna picture myself as a single mom, okay? Because now I have a kid, I cannot picture myself single. So I'll picture myself as a single mom. He's no longer in my life. For example, something happened, either divorce or life just took him. And if tomorrow I were to be a single mom, how would I start picking myself up? Getting myself, I mean, I know I'll mourn for the first few months, I'll be mourning and everything. If I'm divorced, I'll be mourning. But then after the mourning, after people have told me it's gonna be okay, people are around me, my family takes me back, how will I emotionally pick myself up and be motivated to live life to support my kid? So I said, okay, I need to start living that life now. Before it happens, let me prepare myself for losing this person in my life. Because I mean, I'm too attached. I cannot picture life without him. I need to start living life like this person was not in my life anymore. So I started doing that. I started brainwashing my mind to believing I was a single mom living this life. So it didn't bother me that he was not in the house. It didn't bother me when he's not around. It didn't bother me where he was. I didn't even want to check on him, because in my head I told myself, he's gone. He's not here. He's no longer in your life, Saida. You're a single mom and now you're trying to pick yourself up. How are you going to do it? So I brainwash myself every single day, and I listened to many health talks. I brainwashed myself and I started trying to live life like that. So for the first few weekends of my life, I went out one weekend without him. It's new. I never go out on a weekend without him. I go everywhere with him. You know, if he doesn't want to go, then I stay home. The first weekend, I decided I was going to go out without him. And I did. I went out and I took my daughter, and I started going out on the weekend with my sister-in-law. Every time my sister-in-law was invited to a party or whatever, I'd be like, I'm going with you. started going with her everywhere. I started living life like he's no longer in the picture. And I wasn't doing it because I was paying back to him. I was focusing on building myself. So even when he's in the house, I would treat him kindly and politely. I was treating him like, okay, this is just a male support system that I have that's trying to help me throughout life. So maybe he's my dad, maybe he's my brother, maybe he's a sugar daddy, maybe he's a boyfriend, or he's someone. I was just thinking that, yeah, this person is here and I'm just gonna be nice to this person because he's just helping me get back on my feet. So my mind was thinking I was a single mom, and I was living life like I was a single mom. And I was like, okay, what am I gonna do today? Today I'm gonna be depressed because I'm gonna be sad thinking that I lost my husband. How am I gonna pick myself up? Okay, let me pretend. What am I gonna do to encourage myself? Let me go out and start doing the things I like. I started looking for things that I like. I started dancing. I came back home that day. I remember my sister-in-law was in the kitchen cooking. I was just me in the house. I came in and I put music on my TV and I started dancing. I danced that night, I was envisioning myself back in my room when I was 17 years old in my parents' house, dancing and singing. And my sister, it was funny because my sister was like, hey, what's happening with you? I was singing. My ugly voice, I was singing, shouting it. And I was remembering that was Dada Baita also shouting at me when I was 17 years old. So it was small moments like that that gave me joy and happiness. And it just made me live in the past for a moment and gave me hope. So although I'm being patient in this moment, but I'm gonna be patient throughout this time by doing other things, distracting myself to be other things. I started singing and dancing. Every time I come back from work, Sarah was there, she started noticing that I started actually noticing that I actually had a daughter, because throughout my depression, Sarah was just there, but I was not connecting with her, right? She was just there as a responsibility. I started now connecting with her as a child. I started actually loving her freely and practicing gratitude. I used to try every day before I go to bed. I used to practice gratitude. I used to say 20 things I was grateful for. I'd just be in bed before I close my eyes and I start. The simplest things I would tell you. My eyes, thank you God for 2 eyes. And then when I say that, I picture someone blind. Thank you God for the nose and ears that I have. While I'm saying that, I'm picturing that I could have been deaf. Thank you for giving me a breath. Thank you for giving me a house, a bed to sleep in this night. Thank you for giving me running water in my home. Thank you for giving me electricity. So I would say all these small things, and I would reach 20. And every night I would say that. I would wake up in the morning feeling so good. I would feel so much happier. Within time, I didn't notice, but I knew these answers in the back of my mind of what I need to do to pick myself up. And I started living life using those principles. Your true expression of yourself is not your status. You being a daughter is not your true self. You being a wife, you being a mother, your career, your accomplishment, all these things are not who you are. All these things are what you have gained, physical aspects in your life. But who you are is deep down inside your soul. What drives you? What makes you excited? What makes you happy? When all these material things are gone, what are you? Who are you? It's a really, really big question, but you really gotta ask yourself. These are 4 things you can incorporate in your life that can really make a huge difference and can remove and help you overcome anxiety and depression. Gratitude. Practice gratitude every single day in everything you do. Just every day, 5 minutes before you go to bed, talk about 20 things you're grateful for. The second one, do something for people more vulnerable than yourself, like a sick person, someone who's undergoing depression, or someone who's less fortunate than you are. Just do something good for them. A smile, a hug, anything. You can do something nice for someone. The other one is find your true self. Who are you? Who are you? Despite all these things that surround you, your husband, your children, your wife, your property, your status, your whatever, who are you? Who are you? And the 4th one is spirituality. You gotta find something that grounds you. Connect to something that is bigger than yourself. Find that inner source within you. Talk to it. Understand that there is something bigger than yourself in this world. And trust me, you incorporate these things in your life, they're gonna make a huge difference. I assure you, they will make a huge difference. And what you will become after this is not only the best version of yourself, you will become full of life, full of positive, beautiful, radiant, happy energy, that it will overflow and infect the people around you. You'd not only be a source of happiness for yourself, you will be a source of happiness for everybody else around you. And that is what my mom taught me just by observing her, the way of life. She is that person. Every single day I aspire to be what she is, and even more than that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's so much more to come in the next videos. Stay tuned, and if you like this channel, please don't forget, just subscribe. It's a red button down there. You click on that, it helps take my channel to the next level. I love you guys. Take care. Always do the right thing. Be good, and see you next time. Bye.